Educators and tribal leaders are working to figure out how to implement a law passed in recent years requiring Native American history to be included in the classroom. North Dakota Senate Bill 2304 requires every school in the state to provide education on Native American history and culture. Governor Doug Burgum signed that bill into law in 2021. Dr. Clayton Small, who is part of a nonprofit that emphasizes Native history, visited the Fort Berthold Reservation this week to discuss with students and faculty the importance of Native American history, culture, and what they call trauma-informed care.
This is a really good practice to increase success for students, looking holistically, trauma-informed, and that we would hope that other schools in North Dakota would see what we're doing here and join us.
Roughly 440 school faculty and tribal members took part in the three-day event in Newtown.